Hello everyone, I've been your host Dylan. Thank you again for joining me on the final episode of Hannibal. It has been a ride, and I got some things to say. You may or may not like them, but I got some things to say. I don't really have a big intro or a special intro planned out for this one or anything. I'm just ready to get into it, see how the show wraps up, give my take at the end, and then you'll probably unsubscribe. But hopefully you don't. Hopefully you still stick around for the future of other things. But yeah, I can imagine I'm not gonna have the most well-liked thoughts toward the about this show by the end. So let's get into the meal. Hopefully you find my thoughts fair at least, but I got thoughts.
Oh, Reba, I can't stand to watch you burn.
Ooh, this episode better end I like something because what the I'm really hoping for something satisfying at this point, because if that's how they're gonna do the final killer of the show, then boy oh boy, like whoa. He
shot himself in the face. I put my hand in it. He set fire to the house. He shot himself. I put my hand in it. It was on the floor.
At least she made it out of there. Like that's still pretty impressive. I mean, I don't know how many times she's been in a house, but she found the door, she found the key, like the keyhole. She even remembered to take the key off his neck.
You turned yourself in. I would always know where you were. But you'd only do that if I rejected you. Goodbye.
Was it good to see me?
Good? No.
I have a case. I have a case, yo. I have a full case. I have a full show. I have 3 seasons worth of a case to make here. I really do. What? What the fuck is going on?
Jack doesn't know you as well as I do. He thought if he asked you for help, you would just torment him.
Quite right, too.
The Red Dragon faked his death.
Good for him.
How did he manage that,
Jack
though?
wants to fake your escape. I release you into police custody, and Jack uses you as bait.
Was it Will's idea?
Yes.
You died in my kitchen, Alana. Every moment since is borrowed.
Oh my god.
Your child. They belong to me. You made a bargain for Will's life, and then I spun you gold.
Motherfucker is so twisted. It just doesn't stop with him.
He wants Will to ask him, and he wants you to say please.
I'll say pretty please. Let them believe I helped Hannibal escape. Authenticity. Someone has to be close when the dragon comes.
And then?
Kill Dollarhide, and then we kill Hannibal.
Yeah. Jeez, how long did it take? Y'all gave him way too much time. Way too much time. 3 years?
That little extra bit at the end. What was that you said?
You'd never have turned yourself in unless I rejected you.
Yes, that extra bit. I believe that's what they call a mic drop. You dropped the mic, Will.
You're our best shot, Hannibal. Please.
Jesus Christ, man.
What he wants to do requires something a little more private.
What are you doing?
You know, Will, you worry too much. Going my way?
Oh my god. I definitely still need some like explanation on how this guy faked his death, because I'm very certain they gave no type of cinematic like explanation, visual, nothing to interpret. Like he just literally got himself like shot in the head right in front of us.
You and I are suspended over the roiling Atlantic. Soon, all this will be lost to the sea. You intend to watch him kill me?
I intend to watch him change you.
What does he mean by that? Like, what's the change that Will wants to see?
I don't know if I can save myself. Maybe that's just fine. He's watching us now.
I know.
Who's?
Don't run. I'll catch you.
Hello, Francis.
Hello, Dr. Lecter. I'm gonna film your death.
Like I said, you can't be a filmmaker doing this shit.
Watching the film will be wonderful.
Bro, who's betting me money that Will knocks out the Red Dragon? Oh, shit! Oh, just a well-placed axe. Why is Hannibal still hacking and slashing and not like going for like the neck with that shit? It's crazy. This is actually a pretty crazy scene right here. Like just three guys all fucking... Oh shit, Hannibal. God damn.
This is all I ever wanted for you. Well, for both of us.
It's beautiful.
Oh shit. First mistake. They were kind of pussy for that. They were real pussy for that. That was a perfect moment for a kiss. That really was. Like for everything that I'm against with that shit, that was a perfect moment for it. Is that what is that? A leg? What was she sitting on? Like what is... Oh wait. No. That's her leg? That was her leg? What happened there? No, don't tell me Hannibal survived that shit. Don't tell me Hannibal survived that fucking cliff fall and then found Bedelia and got her to eat her fucking leg. Oh boy, that has to be it, right? What else is there? But how could that be? Like this, how? They fell off a cliff together. How? There's no way. There's no way. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I really don't. Some things we know Hannibal fed people themselves. So what happened? I don't even know. Oh man. All right. Let me just talk about the show. This is a really good show, right? I liked it. This was definitely really enjoyable. I think I was able to enjoy it on my own by coming up with my own theories and stuff like that. Honestly, if I was left to watch this show by myself, I probably would have cut it off at season 1. Like I probably would have never got it this deep into the show. And that's simply because I don't really like crime dramas necessarily. Like just the whole, anything that's got like a CSI kind of vibe, you know, that I instantly check the fuck out. Like, I'm just not interested. Like this shit is just too boring. And there's a lot like regarding this show that maybe for you as a viewer, you love it all the way to the end of the moon. But like the slowness, the multiple like scenes, like it's all great cinematography. I'm not gonna knock that, but it gets a little. I get a little too confused, a little too fucking bored at that. Right, just seeing that stuff. Like ultimately, for me personally, I like 3 seasons is enough. Like this is it. I've had enough of this show. To kind of touch on more of why I would have dropped this a lot earlier. It's just simply I would have just not really understood it. If I was never taking notes, this would have been way harder for me to understand. There's a lot of things in here that, you know, I would just argue just like, what was the point of it all in a sense? You know what I mean? Like the fact, I believe the Abigail Hobbs and Garrett Jacob Hobbs came in episode 3 of season 1, and the fact that they were like, those people were so relevant throughout the entire series kind of blows my mind. You know, for all the other killers we got in the show, they served their episodic purpose, but a lot of people didn't have any point in the long run. And personally, I hate that. I got a problem with meeting like new characters and then seeing them not really go anywhere. So I was actually mildly glad to see like Mason and Margot came back in season 3, because I definitely hated their like interjection toward the end of season 2. And then, you know, it just kind of, they were just there for a while. But it was interesting to see like Mason be this sort of like villain toward Hannibal. You know, it almost felt it. I don't want to be misinterpreted in any sense, but it almost felt like out of place in a sense, where it's like, while Hannibal is like this villain anti-hero, Mason was like the villain for Hannibal in a sense. This whole thing, I got a lot to say that I haven't really been talking about, so things are gonna be like a little all over the place. But I want to talk about the individual characters and then relationships and stuff like that. I'm gonna start off with the people you didn't expect me to talk about first. So I'm thinking about like, you know, I mean, you know, like scenes with like the forensic science bros, and they were figuring out all the science of like the murder and like who this person is or who could have been that killed them, or trying to connect all this stuff. A lot of those took me out the show. Like that's part of that CSI type thing that's just like, that shit is I'm just not interested. You know, while they were there to help explain a little bit of the stuff, I personally probably could just deal without it. This just kind of goes into like how I feel about 13 episodes a season. And listen, I get it. It was a point in time. Things are different now than they are then. But listen, I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm cracked out. I really don't watch TV. I'm not used to long seasons. I'm sorry, I'll complain about that. I don't like it. You know, I mean, it is what it is. There's a reason why I didn't watch this or anything before that, right? I don't like television. But that doesn't mean, just because I don't like television, doesn't mean there aren't good TV shows out there. Like, Hannibal was really good. This was enjoyable. I enjoyed the ride a lot. And like I said, I think I was able to enjoy it more by being able to come up with my own theories and thoughts processes, even though all that shit was completely wrong, right? But that's what made it fun for me. So don't try to take away my fun. And a thing about like me taking notes, I was trying to take the best notes that I possibly could, especially season 1. But then when you've got like, when you were introduced to me to all these different characters every different season, every episode, like it was hard to try to like find out what should I really be taking notes of. It was really hard, right? Because I could take notes on like episode 4 or episode 5 that deal with a certain killer, but then that's totally irrelevant to the rest of the show. So it's like, my note taking wasn't good. my theories weren't any good. So ultimately, I'm just left to question and wonder, what the hell did I actually watch here, right? And that goes into something else. I'm gonna tap back in that in a little bit later. So let me talk about some of the more characters. Alana, first season, I liked Alana. I liked what she stood for. I liked what she was all about. I felt bad when she was also constantly getting shit on. You know, I didn't know what to expect of that character, but I in a sense, I'm happy to see she's all right, you know, for the most part. In any potential future, which I doubt is happening, but who knows? In any potential future, she's probably not all right, you know, because we see Bedelia, she got her ass caught at the very end of things. Season 2, Alana, took a big L. Like, her character, all that shit went down to 0. Hated her. Like, I just couldn't stand it. Could not stand it. But then season 3 came around, right? She has some growth, some resolve. And really, I felt like her energy switched to that of Dr. Choten's. Like, I can't describe it anything more than that. Like, she just felt like so, well, I guess in a sense where season 1 and 2, we got to see her be open in a sense. And then season 3, she kind of closed off all these doors and is just strictly here for business, strictly here because it's her job. And I mean, she did her best to find her own happy ending. So I was like totally happy for that. Like I said, Margot was gonna be like the only person who really got out of this winning. Alana, I would say, I would really give it to Alana too, but I feel like with this open-ended ending, there's probably a future where Alana's not gonna be all right. Which I guess in turn falls back on Margot. You know, if Alana is gone, then Margot doesn't have a happy ending after all. Hilton, the most resilient doctor in Baltimore. He was a funny guy. At first, I was really like, what team is he on? And really, he just played the middle the entire time. And it was just amusing. Everything with him is just entirely amusing. So it was nice to finally like understand what his character is like, and then see him just get made fun of like constantly. That was good. Freddie Lowndes. I personally wish they could have used her a little bit better, but I understand she was just a journalist and she was used in a very specific way. I was expecting her to show like almost, I mean, yeah, like I don't know, you know, the episode they revealed she wasn't dead back in season 2. She said something about her resurrection, and I thought that was like some foreshadow to really like just have her come back. But then I also realized, like very, very late, I'm not even sure if I mentioned it so far in this season, but I didn't realize up until like before the episode Hannibal got caught that basically I thought Freddy was gonna be used to help prove Hannibal is the killer. I forgot completely that there's like 4 witnesses from season 2 who know for a fact that it was Hannibal that did that to them. So nobody needed proof that Hannibal was the crazy murderer. It was 4 witnesses. I didn't realize that. There's a lot of things, yo. Oh, first of all, I just want to say this. This show is a lot to take in. If you're sitting down and binging it like I have been, it's a lot to take in. There's a lot I missed, a lot that I just didn't interpret correctly, and it was hard. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard to pay attention when there's so much going on, and it's like it's so psychological, and you just get lost in the imagery and misconstrue people's words because, well, if people are speaking half truths or they're saying something and you don't know what it leads to because it might cut and show you something that explains what was just said. But then me personally, I was wondering, like, is this a fucking flashback? Is this the right now? So there's just a lot I got confused on. This is gonna go into like my final thoughts on everything. But Jack, even though he's kind of a piece of shit, I say I like him. You know, Jax is an alright guy. A little bit of a piece of shit, and you know, but I mean, hey, I don't know. I only got nothing much to say about Jack. I think in Dylan Gordon, like, he was alright. This season, I really toward the back end of the season, he just took a complete backseat. He wasn't really doing much. Loved his fight scenes with Hannibal. Those were like the highlight of everything of the series. Like seeing Hannibal and Jack fight, that was good stuff. Bedelia. I think I have a complicated feelings toward Bedelia, where she seemed to be a pretty interesting character and there's like so much mystery behind her, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things she's justified in, right? And there's a lot of things she's not, so I might just leave it at that. The Red Dragon, I don't know what happened during the scene where he lit the house on fire. I don't know if I don't think they really explained that properly. Like somebody got their face shot in. So I don't know if he had another body in the house and used that as like a decoy and then just expected the house to burn up. So there's like whatever, like you're not gonna identify the body that properly. And then it turned out he was alive. I mean, honestly, like if you remember from the beginning, like I was not feeling that. Like you're not just gonna drop a new villain on us in the last 6 episodes of the show and then have him off himself in the first 10 minutes of the finale. Like what the I had a big issue with that. So luckily he didn't actually kill himself, but I'm still also ultimately extremely confused on how he didn't. Like what happened there. The final battle though, that was fire. That was like wonderful. That was so dope actually. Just seeing Will and Hannibal like fight to kill this guy all together. Like that was pretty cool. In a sense, that feels like an interesting, good payoff to this Hannigram dynamic in a sense. Because, and since I mentioned it, I've evoked the words. Let's just get into it. I don't know how obvious it has been through my like reactions, but I personally feel like through my interpretation of the show, I cannot see how Will grew actual feelings for Hannibal. You gotta bear with me here and like listen to everything I gotta say. Like there's so much from season 1 and even season 2 and season 2 finale. There's so much that Will says that just that was leading me on to the idea that he just wants to kill Hannibal, right? Nothing more. But then, and I can't even remember everything that was specifically said in season 3. I mean, yeah, season 3, episode 3. Because that was the episode that really like was tripping me out, and I couldn't like believe what the fuck I'm hearing, right? Because Will was saying more things that are confessing his feelings for Hannibal. But everything before that, like whenever Will talks to somebody regarding Hannibal, like I feel like there's so much there to just all of this talk about everything. I personally see it as, and I've saw it as, they were just talking about friends. You know what I mean? You love a friend. You could love a friend. You could love a friend and, you know, you just grew a friendship with them and et cetera, et cetera. You just love your friend. But it was definitely season 3, episode 3. Will was saying shit that was blowing my fucking mind. Especially when there's so much. I don't want to have to like literally comb through the first 2 seasons and look at every instance Will said something about Hannibal or someone said something to Will about Hannibal regarding his or regarding Hannibal's love toward Will or Will's love toward Hannibal. Yo, I swear to God, what I was watching Will sidestepped all of that shit. Like, even Bedelia said something about Hannibal loves him, I think in this episode or the episode before, and she asked if he loved him back or something, or does he have those feelings back? Will didn't answer that. He literally sidestepped that entirely and spoke about something else. That happens a lot. It happens a lot. It makes it so for me interpreting that, I'm looking at a guy basically be told something he doesn't want to hear, ignoring that and continuing a conversation anyway. So it's like, and I'm not trying to get into the specifics of it because I know y'all could argue how Will really did have feelings for Hannibal, but consider this. I've really thought about this shit. Consider this. Hannibal liked Will. There's no doubt about that. No fucking doubt about that. That was overtly made clear multiple times. But Hannibal was also the Chesapeake Ripper. Will, who has this empathy issue, seeing himself become and think like the killer. The Chesapeake Ripper grew feelings for Will Graham. Will Graham, who can empathize with all of these feelings a serial killer is feeling, would feel that there are feelings reflected back towards someone. Finding out that that person was Hannibal also means that Will would have feelings for Hannibal. Stay with me here. If Will's feeling something because Hannibal as a serial killer has feelings for Will, are these actually Will's feelings? Are these feelings he has toward Hannibal just simply the empathy he understands that this serial killer loves someone? And because Will thinks he is becoming Hannibal, he thinks he has feelings for Will, for Hannibal, right? I'm just saying, consider that, right? I don't want nobody jumping in my comment section and how I'm trying to justify they're not gay. I'm not saying that. I'm saying consider that. There's also this thing with the Clarice character, right? That I've been told, the actual love interest for Hannibal in the stories or whatever but they couldn't use Clarice over some licensing issues with the studios and et cetera, so they created Will. And there's even a lot of direct lines from the book that Clarice and Hannibal share, that they gave Will those lines to say. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna argue the semantics of what really is supposed to represent. But I feel like when you just watch the show, it's hard to not. There's so much. You know what I'm saying? There's so much here, and I really feel like you can easily interpret it, all of this shit, as Will really not liking Hannibal, other than thinking he does. You know what I mean? But then there's season 3, and then all of a sudden Will is like seemingly does have all these feelings, and that's why I got so damn confused. Cause like, how, bro? How? What the fuck is going on? People telling me like love is complicated. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't care about none of that. This is the most fucked up relationship I've ever seen. And I don't know, like I cannot get behind it. It's too weird and twisted. If it was just a regular love story, that would have been like fine. But we got killing all involved, and it's so psychological. Like I said, it's like, did Will really grow feelings for Hannibal? Or through Hannibal's own feeling for Will, did Will develop feelings because he thinks himself as Hannibal? It just became, you know what I mean? And it's like, if Will has always liked Hannibal the entire time, besides season 1, where, you see that there's so much there. Like, I want to know the exact point where Will actually like has the little change. Like, we actually realize this. Like, I want someone to pinpoint that shit. And I want to go look at it again, because that's crazy. That was so crazy. I can't even see how, Hannibal's too sick and twisted, bro. All right. So besides those two being a thing, let me talk about Will and then Hannibal, the characters. So Will, I was fucking with him at first. He was cool to me, but then toward the end, toward the later half of season 2, he just started saying shit that I don't even know what was going on anymore, And like I was saying, like, I don't know what show I was watching if Will actually liked Hannibal the entire time. I don't know what I was watching, because I swear, even up to the end of season 2, Will is making this plan to catch Hannibal, but also secretly he was making this plan to run off with Hannibal. That's what I'm saying. You gotta choose a side. You gotta pick a side here. I don't know what I don't know what the fuck I watched. I interpret it one way, but it could totally be interpreted another way. I don't know what I watched. But yeah, like Will, I like that he had all the dogs. I could, I got 10 dogs myself, so I fuck with that. And I wanted him to be a hero, but he just kept wanting to be a killer, and I can't, you know what I mean? That's ultimately, like, this show was not for me. I liked it, but let me just say to that, this show was not for me. It was good. I enjoyed it while I enjoyed it, but in the long run, this shit is not for me. I cannot get into it like how other people have. I just can't, and that's for a multitude of other reasons. I don't want to really sit here and like list off everything. I've kind of been getting, too long, you know, a lot of moments I can't interpret correctly. I'm already not a fan of like rewatching things to have to like understand it better. Like the only time I'm gonna be doing that is for like Marvel stuff, because I actually really deep down enjoy that stuff. So I'll watch those again and again. But it's stuff like this that I'm definitely never gonna watch again. That for me personally, I like things that I can easily interpret, right? And this show didn't have that. And like I said, it's fun to theorize. It was fun to like, you know, just take guesses at what's going on. And I'm so thankful that y'all enjoyed me, like, you know, come up with all this type of stuff, because, you know, people get upset. I don't really think I have much else to say about Will. I mean, I liked him at first, I turned around, and then I stopped giving a fuck about his character entirely. So let's talk about Hannibal. All right, now if you've been following along, you understand I don't like Hannibal. So let's explain why. First of all, like he's literally the type of guy to almost die, get cut up, stabbed, fall out of window, and walk to a gallery and start drawing. Like when you have that level of sophistication in class, and then you're like also like a serial killer, and you keep all these secrets, you're already a hole. Like you're already a piece of shit, right? It's that level of sophistication in class that's just like, you're just fucking scummy. I hate it. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to make yourself not look that way. So there's that off the rip. But it's also in that same sense, like I laugh at Hannibal. Like there's moments where he's being like cheeky or quirky or whatever the case may be, and it's that in and itself is enjoyable. Like that's funny. I can laugh at that. Don't mean I'm ever gonna like his ass, but I can acknowledge that shit was funny, and it is, you know, it's funny. But ultimately I just totally detest this character. I mean, I understand, you know what I mean, coming into the show, obviously, I mean, everybody knows Hannibal, right? Whether you've seen anything or not, I think for the most part, Hannibal Lecter is just a powerful name in like media. So like, you know what he's about off rip. So, you know, I think with this show, obviously they wanted to try to use the character, but make it different in a way where it's just not all you're expecting. And, you know, with Mads Mikkelsen, I don't know how to actually pronounce his last name, but this guy, he was fantastic. He was utterly fantastic. Like he did a great fucking job. All of these people did amazing. Like this was definitely an amazing cast, definitely an amazing show. You know, everything y'all have to say praising it, I'll also like repeat those things. I still got, you know, how I feel about it on a personal level, but I can still definitely like join y'all in all the praise for the show. This was very, very good. But you know what Hannibal does that also really pissed me off? His use of psychedelic drugs. Now look, I've mentioned very briefly at this point, I never had to bring it back up, but I've mentioned that I was studying psychology. At one point I wanted to be a psychologist, and you know, I don't even think it's legal to do, maybe not in America, but my whole idea was I always wanted to give people like shrooms or psilocybin in some sense, get them all tripped out and help people through their actual problem. But Hannibal was getting people high and fucking with them. That's not the type of science, that's not the type of psychology I would have been doing. You know what I'm saying? So right there, there's so many layers, bro. There's so many layers that dig in me on a personal level, and that I just can't fuck with Hannibal. I just can't. The character, I can't fuck with him. Can't have him having anything he wants, right? And to dive back into like the will, feelings in his mind type thing, like to have a character like with their mentality so much, that's another reason why I sympathized with Will so much in the beginning. Like, don't fuck with my brain, don't fuck with the way I think, don't manipulate that shit. I don't fucking like that. I don't like that. Like, don't manipulate the way I think, don't manipulate me, you know, like that's dangerous stuff. I don't like actual mental manipulation, and I seen Hannibal do that a lot. So like there was never gonna be any room for me personally, especially, I've said this sometime before, like I'm a simple guy when it comes to like stuff, you know what I mean? I like heroes and detest villains. Coming into a show where the main character is the actual villain, you know, well, a villain, and like obviously he's not the, because there's been times where he's been a hero, right? He saved the world like 2 times, maybe more, but I see it as 2 times. You know what I mean? And obviously, like obviously with the character of Hannibal, they want to make it so that yes, he's this and yes, he's that, but also he's more than just this serial killer. You should, I don't know what they want. I don't know what they want from me, because I don't care. I just can't care. Like if Hannibal wants to be like this sophisticated, beautiful, elegant, high class type of person, and miss me with all of that shit. Like I could never genuinely love that character. He's interesting, he's complex for sure, but I could never love this character. I could never. And then, you know, I'm trying to think about, I guess, everything, and I don't know what else to add. You know, that was Hannibal. that was Hannibal. I didn't know what to expect coming in, and I really didn't know what to expect for this last scene. I don't even know. I can see where people definitely want that season 4 now. Yeah, I guess, you know what? I gotta see what people are saying in regards to like their theories about what happened, because it's real sussy. They fell off. Oh, you know, let me talk about that final scene. You know, regarding Handygram one more time, actually. Perfect moment they could have kissed, but they didn't. And it's like, why? Why not? Why not at that point? For everything that was built up, like, what were they avoiding? Why were they not trying to do that? You know what I mean? Granted, there's a lot of TV history in relating to that. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's ultimately where I really don't respect it. Because if y'all were gonna make it a point so much to bring that shit up and not do nothing with it, even at a perfect moment like the season finale, as they fall off a cliff, one last kiss, I'm gonna have to call you pussy for that. Like, you pussy because you didn't follow through. I'm telling you, I would have been real shocked to see a kiss. That was a moment right there. But you know what I mean? That's why I said I got a case earlier. Oh, let me bring that back up. I've already explained my case, but let me bring. So it was the moment where like Will said something about like, you know, you gave yourself up because I know where to find you, something. You'd only do it if I rejected you. And like that, I was obviously like, you know, this text right there that, you know, leans into Handygram, obviously. But Will's attitude in that whole scene is basically what I've been seeing the entire fucking show. The entire show, right? Hannibal 100% expresses his feelings toward Will, but Will sidesteps that. Well, I've seen Will sidestep it the entire time. So that's what I'm saying. If y'all see more than what I saw, I don't know what I was watching. But I think that's gonna be all, you know? I'm pretty excited to be at the end here. Super excited. I hope I don't lose like 100 subscribers after this video, because I know some of y'all could be fake out there. Y'all only subscribe to watch Hannibal. I hope y'all subscribe to see me, you know? But I mean, you know what I mean? I get it. I'm a little bit of a fourth wall breaker, all right? I know what it's like to be a viewer. I'm also just now a content creator. So it's only been a couple months. I mean, I gotta break the fourth wall a little bit. I gotta let y'all know I'm just a regular guy too. But yes. Thank you guys for joining me on this series. Thank you to the constant recommendations I've had over the months before getting into this. Thank you for not tearing into me for my bad theories. Just thank you guys for watching. Like, seriously, like, this really means a lot. This is it. This is the end, guys. 3 seasons of Hannibal. If I had to say it, I definitely don't want the show to come back. Oh my god. I think I saw a comment of someone saying if this show came out now, it would break the internet. And maybe. But you know what? I also say if this show came out now, it wouldn't have 13 episodes. There would be a lot cut out, for sure. If this show like came out in the streaming era, this show would not have 13 episodes, which honestly I feel like would benefit a lot more. I truly feel like it would benefit the show personally. In my opinion, it would benefit the show more if the episodes were cut shorter, or there were just less episodes per season in some sense, and then you could have had more seasons, because there's just so much to take in. Yeah, this whole show was a doozy. That's gonna be all for today, guys. So thanks again for your support, and I'll catch you in the next one. So take care of yourselves, and of course, as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one.